Hello, adventurers, and welcome to Roll for Bluff, our talk show where we discuss the ongoing happenings of our campaign, Bards and Nobles. On this week's episode, Hard Hitting Hearts, we'll be discussing what happened on our previous night, which there was some interesting moments that we had.
There were moments that I thought were going to go one way, did not. There were moments that chance took over, and chance was very kind to you.
Yes, it was. To my right, we have Tristan, who plays Soren Thunderfist. To my left, we have Brandon, who is our Dungeon Master. And I'm Sam, your host. And these two are going to be joining me tonight as my co-host, as well as my fair ladies. So we kick off this episode. And at the start of this episode, we had kind of taken a long rest in this sort of sheltered cove after coming out of the cave. And Cal's unconscious, but, you know, the rest of the party is just passing the night away. Not really a whole lot happened throughout the night. Soren had last watch.
I had the last watch, and that's where I noticed the storm be a-coming.
There'll be a storm a-coming.
Yes, a storm.
A big storm.
A big one. One that even Soren could tell was going to be...
That bad.
going to be very bad.
Well, even with Soren's intelligence. Yep.
That's a bad storm.
So the group, under Soren's behest, pack up and begin leaving and heading up the coastline away from the cove so they can get back towards the mainland. Mm-hmm. And upon exiting their cove and looking up the shoreline, they see a ship. Upon further inspection of the ship, they find it is the same ship that tried to kidnap Galdine, their Dragonborn champion of the Colosseum.
Good old pal Galdine.
After a little bit of debate, and Cal not being able to put any input in,
Because Cal is not awake.
The group decided to attempt to stealth away from the ship, which started off strong, and then promptly failed.
Yeah, that didn't go so great.
To which a kobold, through his familiar, noticed the exact thing he was looking for.
Cal.
Yeah.
Ding, ding. The group had a moment where they debated, do we fight, do we go, do we fight, do we go, do we fight, do we go? And it was just long enough for the enemy to get off their ship and begin a quickened pace towards you before you guys decided to leave.
Right, because it was a bit of a debate where Soren's like, oh, guys, let's just go. There's a lot of them. And Leon was like, we could probably take them.
Yeah. I gotta say, as a player, it was super frustrating being like, Cal can't do anything right now because I really just want to tell these guys, like, let's go. Go. There's like a billion of them, and they're just like sitting there arguing. It was just so frustrating.
Yeah, it was nice for me.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet it was real nice for you.
As 9 enemies started running at you, and then you decided to run, and through some very poor rolls.
Yeah.
Some of us.
You saved the group from this happening sooner, but through some not so good rolls, Liam with a natural run, Lyra not rolling high on her athletics. They were caught up to, and unlucky for Lyra, who rolled the lowest and was moving the slowest, because Bilal and Sprout wild-shaped into direwolves who had a higher move speed and were just booking it with Cal on back. Leon was...
He was rolling pretty poorly.
Yeah, they were both rolling pretty poorly. Lyran, though, because she was in last, was struck down by a bugbear chieftain who took her down and held her hostage.
Right, because this is where, when we saw them getting close, Soren, who was carrying Cal, put her on one of the dire walls, like, go, and he started running back.
Yeah, but that was... You put her down after she got hit by 2 javelins.
Oh, yeah, Cal.
Yeah, they were throwing javelins at us.
You were a pincushion.
And just because of, you know, Soren was carrying Cal on the shoulder, so it was like the javelins went into Cal instead of Soren.
I rolled odds and evens. Who got hit by what?
Yeah.
Since
Cal was both times.
Just my luck.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't uncanny dodge that.
No, I couldn't. You can't dodge when you're not awake.
Good.
So Lyran was held captive, and upon the bugbear chieftain demanding that they give Cal for Liren's life. Soren was like, we don't have Cal. She's over there. We're going to hold Liren as collateral. And Leon was like, what if I
Shoot you in the face.
try and shoot you? Before running some math in his head, understanding that he was about 10 feet away from this chieftain.
Putting him promptly at a disadvantage with a bow and arrow.
He failed. He missed. And Liren was stabbed in the back of the neck.
Yep.
Which then initiated combat.
Yay! So it was still technically 5 versus 9.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
It could have been 4 versus 9.
Yeah. You guys actually did pretty good work. Overall.
Yeah.
It went about as I expected for some people.
Well, because I think a big benefit was the fact that I had grappled the chieftain.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
So, like, he couldn't really fight for a little bit. He couldn't move. So that really limited him, and he was just absorbing a lot of damage, first and foremost. Granted, you have, kobold sorcerers and bugbears throwing javelins. Like, there was a lot of enemies.
Shooting arrows. No one was getting up close and personal with you.
No.
Because, as you guys learned, that now that you're more renowned and your group is more known by these individuals, they know your fighting habits and how you like to take things on.
Kobolds are like, big guy, run!
Big guy, get him over far! He's not vulnerable to magic! And they knew that.
Yeah.
So, the group did a good job dispatching the enemies until they misplaced Cal.
And by misplaced, I mean...
Misplace her.
So Bilal had gone out of wild shape, and for this session I played Bilal because Malcolm couldn't join us. And so he'd gone out of wild shape and was concentrating on like throwing some spells, and one of the kobolds went invisible. And the perception rolls just weren't good enough.
Oh no, and Leon went down.
Yeah, Leon went down.
So then there was
Did he go?
He went down.
Okay.
He went down.
Because that's what the kobold was waiting for, because he was standing right beside Cal and had a
right.
higher perception. But as soon as he went down, the kobold was like, "Arr."
Yeah. Grabs Cal.
Made you
makes
invisible.
her invisible. And just starts
Dragging
her away.
It was great. It was wonderful with me because they knew that there was a kobold, but through the thrall of the fight, you guys were like, oh, he disappeared. I wonder where he went. And then later, Cal disappeared. I know where he went. He went to Cal. Because you guys had put yourself in a way that I tracked his movement. Mm-hmm. He was able to go around everybody without even getting anywhere close. So there's no way you guys would have seen him.
Right.
So upon that, a daring rescue mission was enacted between you and Leon.
Well, first Sprout was dire wolfing and sniffing it out, as well as Cornelius.
And that's where they noticed that there was like drag marks.
And your big saving grace on where she went was Bilal going locate object on her armor.
Yeah.
So then right over there, over there.
Yeah.
Pat, like just pretty much tracking it in so you guys could head in that direction.
Right.
Through some narrow perceptions, you found once again the kobold dragging, and you hit him. He
Which
didn't
made
die.
him less invisible.
He made it less invisible. He didn't die.
Not that time.
He also then made Leon go blind and deaf.
Tried to blind Soren twice.
Yep.
Blind! No! Blind! No! Oh no!
Yeah, so it would be like Soren and Leon were trying to catch up to them, and the kobold's like, crap! It was just like trying to blind him, trying to charm him, trying to make him deaf, whatever, while still dragging Cal away.
At an unusual speed, because now as a DM and you've killed him and you've ran away.
Hasted.
He had gloves of invisibility. Anything he touched could turn invisible. He also had boots of expeditious retreat.
Okay.
So he could he could move more if he needed to. So he was booking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and after, hit, book, miss, moved it.
Yeah.
They eventually made their way back to the ship. To which Soren narrowly squished the kobold and rescued Cal, because as that kobold went squish, another kobold reached out and slammed another clockwork heart.
Boy, I just love those clockwork hearts. I gotta tell you.
Do you?
It's like a reoccurring theme or something.
Yeah. Which upon it woke up Cal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was still another 10 hours?
Oh yeah.
10, 15 hours of unconsciousness?
That was the one good part, I think,
Was
about
that
the
you woke
clockwork
up.
heart, was that I woke up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To which you failed a wisdom save.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And hard.
And what'd you see?
So instead of seeing Sorn, I saw a demon.
Who was picking you up.
He was picking me up. And instead of seeing Cobalt behind me on a ship, I saw Sorn and the rest of the group being like, oh no, we have to save Cal. Which is a little weird.
Which was, it was like, oh, there's a demon. That's priority. So you cast darkness.
Because the demon, in my mind, the demon was trying to like drag me in a way, and for some reason I was like, darkness, like just right on him, just to see if it would make it a little easier for me to get away from him.
And you failed. You didn't fail.
No,
you
darkness was cast.
But you failed your escape.
Yeah, you failed your escape.
Yeah.
Because it was versus my athletics. And
yeah.
just a
my
little bit
athletics
higher.
is not great.
I almost lost you, though. Like, you rolled high enough and I rolled low enough for us to almost miss each other.
I had rolled like a nat 1 and you rolled a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She rolled.
That's what it was.
It wasn't that I rolled well. It was that we both rolled horribly, but I was
plus
even
was
worse.
better.
Yeah.
And yours was marginally worse. So you kept a hold of her, and then you rolled dexterity to make sure you didn't fall off the gangplank.
Yes.
Right.
Into the darkness, walked through. You then saved.
Yes.
Barely.
Yeah.
Well, because it was something like Sorn had said something.
The Sorn that was on the ship.
It was like, she's important to us. We can't let her go. And
and in Cal's mind, that's like, Sorn wouldn't say that.
Sorn didn't. Sorn would be
Sorn
like, we
doesn't care. Which, oddly enough, here's Sorn trying to save her.
His life to fight a boat
and
full
Cal's
of
like,
bugbears.
wait, there's something off about carrying Sorn. I don't get it.
Yes, it's just like, Sorn doesn't care about me, and then in reality, yes, Sorn
Sorn's like,
versus
I
a
can't let you
boat full
die.
of bugbears and kobolds.
Right.
It's like,
So I managed to succeed barely on the wisdom
And
throw.
you kept the darkness, which if you dropped it...
I wanted to keep it. I was like, just to give a
As
little
much
bit, as much
it, they were
advantage.
just going to go, all right, everyone, just let loose everything you got. Just
Yeah, I thought that was probably a smart idea.
you weren't raging then. You would have taken the brunt of everything.
yeah, because I was raging for the battle.
And you lose it after a turn of not getting attacked or hit.
Yeah. So then, Cal
Leon
and
fell the first
Sorn start running. The rest of the group start running.
Leon is no longer blind and deaf, and he's like, we gotta get out of here. And then once again goes,
And falls. Sorn once again has to reach down, pick him up,
Scoop him
and
up.
put him back on his feet.
oh God, you're a Goliath.
I know.
And then suddenly from the area of the darkness, we just see like so many enemies just
You see
chasing after
20
us.
goblins.
That's a lot.
2 sets of 10.
It's a lot in my head.
And
All archers.
And
Right.
they're like taking turns, so like they're like running in lines, and one of them shooting, and the other is advancing. Then they stop and shoot while the other advances, and
It's a constant rotation of goblins that are just volleying arrows.
Right, and we eventually catch up with the rest of the group, in which we put you, because you're still pretty heavily hurt, we put you on Sprout, who is a dire wolf, and Liren, who is pretty hurt, on top of Bilal, who was also a dire wolf.
No more athletic checks for them.
And then something very interesting happens.
After a few rounds of
Dodge.
Leon getting just shot
at.
He was the other pinprick.
He was a
in the
nice
thing.
target today.
He was. Oh gosh, he took so much damage.
Yeah, he did.
They have healers.
Good sport.
Yeah. Another wisdom
there
save.
was, because you did a whole religion and the storm was happening the night before the morning of when the storm was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a 10% chance. I had percentile die. I gave a 10% chance. So 1 through 10, something amazing would happen. Anything else?
Nothing.
And what'd you roll?
A 7.
So something amazing happened.
Something amazing did happen, and all the party, I can only imagine, almost relieved themselves in the presence.
Right, because as we've because we reviewed some of the footage as well, I thought it was initially going to be a bad thing.
Yeah,
because it was at that moment, out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning strikes Sorn, and you phrase it as lightning strikes Sorn, and you are gone. And we were like,
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you said gone, I was like dead.
Like gone or
like did he just take like 100 D20 lightning damage? Like gone?
Nope.
Because there was a pause. Like Sorn is gone. And we're like,
no. But what he meant was
Soren had traded places with somebody, a very important somebody. Give us the lowdown.
that was in place of Sorn, who is already like 8 feet tall and pretty impressive. The party then observes in the front of the group, right in front of them, a 15-foot tall, red-bearded man carrying a large hammer.
Thor Odin's son.
To which he turns, picks up Mjolnir, and chucks it.
To which it hit the ground and through your pendant, your...
Because I'm now in the clouds observing everything, apparently.
Yep. He traded spaces. I mean, it was to let you know that he's watching you. So you
He's like, I got a lot of stock invested in you, kid.
I gave you a hammer. Come on, man. So you shot lightning out of your pendant and into Mjolnir, which then cracked into the ground and did an obscene amount of damage through a thunder wave spell. Also, just the pure bludgeoning of like a hammer this big. That's just the one part hitting the ground, and with the might of a god.
Yes.
All the goblins were vaporized.
they didn't stand a chance.
Every goblin that we were like, oh no,
They
was
have
reduced
They have
to
7
atoms.
health.
Yeah, they didn't stand a chance.
Both groups rolled under a 10 for their dex save.
It was like Infinity War, just
They just dusted.
Yeah.
So it was a good moment, and then he switched back.
and everyone's like, what just happened?
Now, what did Thor say to Soren on the way back? Because I remember when he was going up, you were going down, and
he said to fight true.
Fight true.
Wise words. Why?
Yeah,
Wise
like
words
Soren would do
indeed.
anything.
Right? What else is Soren gonna do? Fight lies?
I mean, the reason he said fight true is because, once again, he knows that you're about to go into the thick of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is what you just did. Potatoes to what you're about to go into.
Yeah, with our big battle coming up.
Yeah.
So switch places. Everyone's kind of just like, what the hell just
And you're
happened?
just like, we're leaving.
And I'm just like, let's go, guys. What do you mean, just go?
And Leon's like, is this normal?
So as we continue, that's when a certain little thing.
Yeah, I failed that wisdom save
Again. Which is
I'm
great.
really bad at the wisdom saves.
Yeah.
My wisdom save is like a +1.
It's so good.
And I always just roll so bad on it. So yeah, I failed
after
the
failing
save.
that wisdom save, what did you see this time?
So instead of riding on Sprout's back, I was riding on a demon. So I pulled out my dagger of venom, pumped a charge, and just went for it.
Loosed a shot directly right into his back, which
Yeah.
he failed. You did your 20. You did a roll of 27.
Yeah, with the sneak attack damage.
And you did over 30 damage, but he didn't drop the form because he hadn't taken damage in that form yet.
Right.
Which is good.
yeah.
Right.
But immediately you're like,
Acrobatics off. Which I was very successful at my acrobatics.
Right. Followed by promptly
very
being,
successful athletics.
Yeah.
promptly
Haha,
being-
I'm on the ground.
The sword
a
just
very
like...
large sword. Like, no.
Yeah, so,
So after a couple of struggling moments, and
yeah.
like you got tied down at one point,
Hogtied.
Hogtied.
essentially. Everyone else like trying to hold you down. Sorn called for Bilal and Sprout to get as much healing spells that they can muster.
One each.
Ready. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I meant as far as like
Yeah.
greatness wise. And we had it so everyone kind of positioned Cal, and Sorn is on top because he's going to be the one with the most strength. And he's like, all right, guys, we're going to have to do this the hard way. We have no other options right now.
We're not doing it. And Leon was like, I'll help. And then failed her wisdom save.
And then
she was
paralyzed
like,
with fear.
I don't want to do this. So, yeah, tell us about what your role was.
My role was to rip the damn thing out of her chest.
What'd you roll?
A nat 20.
So you're like, oh, I know how to rip things out of people. This is easy. So
Well, the nat 20 was for positioning.
but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
which made the DC lower. It was still higher because you had a clockwork amulet on.
Yeah.
And it went
and that
munch, munch,
fused
munch, munch.
in with the clockwork heart.
Which made it stronger and bigger.
Which I lost that clockwork amulet. The clockwork amulet basically gave me like a +10 on like attack rolls, which is nice. But I only used it like once or twice, so I'm not too upset about it.
So it ate that, made it stronger. You ripped it out.
Ripped it out.
It did you did a hellish rebuke.
I did a hellish rebuke because in my mind these are demons.
Right.
So that did a damage on Soren, and then the heart itself did a hellish rebuke. And did more damage to Soren.
Yeah.
Where were you at?
I wasn't too
No, he
bad.
wasn't too bad. I was gonna say I want to say that even with the
Well, because when she got it ripped out, we were already in like the healing spirit, so I was automatically getting healed the second it
Thank God
happened.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got the heart out.
Which
healed
was also
Cal.
a really scary moment because, like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh god, this is where Cal dies. Like,
I mean, you took enough to technically kill you, but not like dead.
Right.
You took enough. You took your entire health pool.
Yeah.
Right, 45. Yeah. That's your
Yeah.
health. So she took her entire health pool in one hit from the heart being ripped out and all the necrotic damage.
but the issue was because I was already down to like 20 of 45.
Right.
I was concerned about going 45 under.
If I would have rolled better, because I rolled a bunch of ones, Cal would have been dead.
Yeah.
Because there were D12s, and I did some math earlier. If I would have rolled, if I would have technically rolled 6 10s,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Dunzo
would've been
McGunzo.
done.
I mean, this is one of those moments where it's playing a character versus playing smart, I guess. Because I mean, this is where like, and nobody else had any other like you shouldn't do that outside of course Cal, but everyone else is like
We have to.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're right, Soren. Go ahead and rip that bad boy out.
This is our only way. If we have to sacrifice Cal, we sacrifice Cal. But for
I just think this was
good.
the first time in a while that I've been like, crap, Cal might die.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting prepared for it. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
To
It's
which
gonna
Soren
happen.
immediately went, yeet.
Yes.
We
threw it out of the healing
yeeted
spirit
the
field
heart.
so it didn't
Yeah.
get healed itself. And once Cal was she was semi-conscious, Leon is pouring vials of acid onto it to try and
Right.
dissolve it.
Which
He pours-
did damage.
He did
Not
two, which did some. And then Cal was it? You hit one
Acid
arrow.
arrows. I was
You
trying
did
to hit
the
them,
first
yeah.
one, right?
And
the
it's
second
called
one
out to you.
for the
Right.
second one,
And I couldn't do it.
and then Leon tried to push it with
Leon
you,
was
Right.
like, yep.
but then he couldn't get it.
He
either.
didn't get my
You
strength,
resisted
yeah.
enough, and then I just came by and went
Which didn't kill it.
no.
Right.
And then Sprout,
No,
despite the fact that Soren made it clear not to touch it, not to go near it, we had another acid arrows.
Yeah, I was just gonna keep wasting acid arrows. He
Yeah, I mean,
didn't
you can
have
always
to.
buy more. Sprout goes over and goes, wait, I can do something. And we're like, Sprout,
And we're
don't.
like, Sprout,
He just
no,
wanted, he wanted to be the best
stop.
helper possible.
And we-
Stop, Sprout, no. And then,
He's
so what does he
gonna
do?
learn.
No.
And he went, because technically the heart is dead, but clockwork is keeping it alive. So he did gentle repose. And I rolled, this is your second lucky time, I rolled a percentage of resistance. So the way that works is it's a percentage die. Depending on what it rolled, it would have resisted that much. Meaning the heart would have functioned, but part of it would have started to repose. But I rolled
Goose egg.
big old 0.
The heart did not resist at all.
It completely it
It turned back into
a heart.
a regular heart. As
All the
copper
clockwork
pieces,
came out, but when that happened, all of the necrotic energy in it out and went into the one thing that was touching it.
Yep.
It went
Sprout.
into Sprout, to which
He was engulfed in black hellfire.
and he died. Technically he went down to 0.
He went down to 0.
And then with the there was the immediate, because how it worked was there was an immediate extra damage on top of that happens after the original damage. So he was knocked to 0 from the original damage. Extra damage happens.
And he was at technically 2 death saving throws.
And there was, by the time you guys got over, you put it out. By the time you put it out and everything, he had to make one more.
Right.
One more death saving throw. He would have been. And this is the most worried I've ever seen you guys about an NPC. You guys were all like, "No, we don't want to. No, this can't be our fault.
He's
right?
too innocent to die.
He's too good. He's done his best. He's done his best.
He's just a good noodle trying his hardest.
He's just a boy." And he rolled a 14.
Yay!
So he succeeded.
So he's not dead.
He didn't die.
To which we then, I think Malcolm burned his last
healing spell on him, but his burns did not heal.
Yeah.
Right.
He was unconscious and
Covered
charred to a crisp.
So we booked it back to town because we figured there's got to be somebody in town who knows how to do this. We were thinking Dalmine, Wesley, just anybody, maybe somebody in the postman. So
mage that we met earlier.
Yeah, so we took him back to town and we went straight to Wesley's Wonder Emporium because we figured we'd start there, especially considering Dalmine, my mother, I figured, she's got magic, maybe she'll know something.
Or at least she's got connection to demon things, so she might understand it more.
Right. But that kind of wound up not being the case. Wesley and Dalmine were still helpful, but there wasn't really much they could do as far as
Right. Now we have to know, this is the first time we've seen Wesley drop the
Wesley's Wonder Emporium.
He dropped down to his...
Oh my gosh. No, this is not okay.
Yeah.
To his gnomish voice.
Mm-hmm.
So while they were trying to keep Sprout stabilized, both Leon and Cal
went in different
directions. Leon went to go see, he had a contact, somebody from the underworld.
A Kenku.
A Kenku. That happened to be in the city, so he went to go see his Kenku friend contact, just to see if there was anything he might have known about in the city that can help him.
Right.
Meanwhile, Cal sought out the postman because she didn't know if maybe they had somebody on their side, especially with it being Sprout.
Mm-hmm. Seeing how Sprout is
part of the postman.
The newest member.
Cal also did that because if anything happened to Sprout, she wanted them to know about it immediately.
Because you were the contact for him.
Because I was Sprout's contract. So that was Cal being like, shit, he's my responsibility and he's going to die. What do I do?
So, it's my fault.
So
it's my fault.
Let's start with yours with the postman before we go into Leon's.
Yeah. So I went to... I managed to find
another paper shop.
A paper shop where there was a... What was his name?
You didn't get his name.
I didn't get his name. Okay. There's a gentleman from the postman. I had asked initially to see Max. To which I found out Max was not.
He also
nearby.
did not know who you. He wasn't facing you. You said, "I'm here to talk to Max." He was like, "Who's asking?" Oh,
yeah,
it's you.
I know it's you. But when I mentioned that Sprout had been involved and badly hurt, he was like, "Well, I don't know if I could do anything, but I'll come with you."
Mm-hmm. Closed up shop and you went back.
Yep. So we went back. But meanwhile, Leon...
he goes to meet his contact. His Kenku contact, who is stationed in an outhouse.
Yes, stationed in a false wall.
It's a nice place to be stationed. I mean, if you're going to be stationed anywhere.
And this is one beat-up looking Kenku. Mm-hmm. Cracked and broken beak, missing an eye.
He's got a lot
covered in matter.
in brown matter. And Leon was asking some questions. The Kenku didn't have any real information for him.
All he could really surmise and know is to take him to a church.
He was like, you can try a church.
Which actually wound up being the best possible help.
Right.
So Leon began to head towards the church that the Kenku had pointed him to. And before he went in, he decided to speak to Shalik.
Which I did not expect. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I did not expect, and he rolled high enough to speak.
He rolled high enough to speak to Shalik.
Yeah.
Speak to the Shalik.
Shalik was very open and warm and welcoming. All Shalik said pretty much was, if you allow me more control, I can help him out. All we need is a bunch of holy water.
Right. To which he was like,
Deal.
This is one of those things where all the characters genuinely care for Sprout, because again, he is this young, brand new postman, very kind, innocent character, and we all feel responsible for him. So I think everyone is like going back on things that they wouldn't normally do, like without even.
I gotta
thinking.
do what I gotta do.
Right. So Leon's like, fine, yes, you can have all the control you want. Just help me save Sprout.
So the mark that was cracked up to about here on his arm then became a solid banded tattoo, like a bracer on his arm, and then went to about here.
About halfway across his chest.
So it was a shocking. I mean, Leon was like, "This is cool. I'm gonna wrap this up, though."
Yeah. Don't need people seeing this stuff.
So then he went into the church and, upon Shalik's request, asked
an older acolyte, for some holy water, and upon questioning of which god for,
right?
Because this church was a church of non-denomination. You could go to. There were different rooms.
Different gods.
I actually borrowed this idea. I will not lie about the different rooms from a different DM, Nick. He had this in his campaign, and I thought it was a really smart move. I thought it was really interesting. So thank you. There's your credit. So he was like, Paylor, and the guy was like, oh,
third room on the left.
all right, over there.
Right.
He said, like, come back in an hour and I'll have your holy water.
He gave him what? How much gold?
Like 12
gold for something that was only going to cost 2?
Yeah.
So
no, it was 2 for a small amount.
It was 2 for... No, he gave him 2 for the holy water, and then he asked if he would like to make a donation. And Leon gave him an additional 10 and said, if you can make this go any faster...
That's what it was.
To which the cleric pocketed 2, I believe. Or not the cleric, the acolyte pocketed 2 and then took the other 8 as a donation.
Right.
So...
He wanted to make it happen as fast as possible.
Leon did not care. He saw it and was like, I don't care. He's going to get done.
Money! Yeah. Shut up and take my money!
Ran back,
ran into Cal. They both came back at the same time.
You, after discussing with, Dalmine and like really understanding that her magic is not for healing.
Right. Dalmine had no solution. Wesley during this time was asking several times about money.
Right.
I mean, he wanted to make sure that the job they sent, he was something to get with them.
So after Leon had come back, Cal was like, you guys go, I'll settle up with Wesley.
Right. So, I mean, Sorn at one point was, like, close to getting angry with Wesley. He's like, seriously? We have a friend here dying. And you're like, so how about
those gems?
How about those gems? He's like, seriously? I'm holding a small burned victim, and you're like, money.
Which was part of the reason why Cal was like, just go, I'll deal with this.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
Who does not know Sprout. Saw he was badly injured, but also couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, it's out of his hands. He had a business to run. He wasn't going to try and do anything else because he can't. He couldn't do anything else because he doesn't know how.
Yeah. Still could have had some compassion.
He did. He let you have, he let you hold a burn victim in a store.
Yeah.
He walked and closed the door on his storefront for you.
It was getting around closing time.
So they took Sprout back to the church.
Yes. You stayed with Wesley.
I stayed with Wesley. Got the money for everybody settled up.
Which you got.
Yes.
We're gonna reiterate this next session because when everyone's there. You each got 5 platinum.
Yes.
Which was nice.
Yes.
You also got a potion of persuasion. A greatly reduced price on everything in there.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to it, but you also got 3 health potions.
Good.
So you each have health potions. They're minor.
I remember driving home, actually, just side note as a player. I remember driving home that night, and I was like, I'm pretty sure when I found that prayer necklace, you mentioned that it was worth 500 gold. You didn't get me 500 gold for it, but I didn't think about it at the time, so I didn't haggle.
I know.
I was kicking myself.
So...
Well, I mean, if we add up the prices of everything that we got, we might be getting close to it.
Nah.
What,
I mean,
5 minor...
6...
Nah.
1, 2, 3... 5... so it's 50... So you got 250 worth of platinum, some potions. Yeah. It's not 500 for one thing, but it's close. It's almost...
I think it was just one of those things where there's a bit more story going on. So.
You also gave dragon bones to him, and he only gave you that.
Yeah.
I didn't give him dragon bones.
Leon did.
Leon did. He gave him a horn and a
I wouldn't have given him the dragon bones if I was Leon.
So, yeah, all these bones and everything.
He kept something, though.
He kept a tooth.
Yeah, he kept the dragon tooth. Yeah.
You each have a tooth.
He gave the Minotaur skull.
No, he kept the claw.
That's right, he got the claw.
I have the 2 teeth.
You have the 2 teeth.
Yeah.
So Minotaur skulls.
Did you guys have some interesting bones on you now.
Yeah, we do.
So you got some good stuff from it, and that is where that ended for you.
Right.
And then we shifted back over to the church.
To which was it just Leon and I at first?
It was Leon, you, and the other postman.
That's right.
And Liren.
No,
Liren's with you.
Liren and Bilal both.
That's right.
So you got to the church.
Mm-hmm. To which we're pointed again to the room for Paylor. We go in with the several jugs of holy
water that they just finished blessing.
Right. Creating a bath that had a slight glow to it. Because, again, it's holy water for Paylor in a room for Paylor.
By acolytes of Paylor. For a follower of Paylor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Paylor. So there's a bit of glow. Soren lowers Sprout into the water up to, so that the only thing really exposed is his face. To which Leon reaches over,
and
unwraps
Shalik
his
said,
hand.
put your arm in the water. Put me in the water.
So he unwraps his arm. This is where we see the curse mark really exposed.
Yeah, you were like,
I'm like,
that's new. And then
puts it in the water, to which everything starts to vibrantly glow.
Yeah.
The curse mark grew to the other side of his chest.
And turned from simple bracers to much more of almost like runes.
Runes on him, and after it like blind light, just... And his skin healed. He still has scars on him, of course, but he is healed.
But unconscious.
And afterwards, after Leon pulled his hand out, he noticed that the light from Shalik dimmed. It wasn't gone. It was just muted and dim, so surmised that she was sleeping.
That was a lot of energy.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of divine intervention.
Yes. And that's where we ended, where you guys were heading towards the church to meet us. Sprout was in a pool of holy water, and we were getting ready to fish him out like a hush puppy out of a dry.
So, thoughts about the whole session? What were you guys worried about?
It was definitely a big mix, like rather than just being a purely combat one or purely story one, because we keep going back and forth with those, where some of the ones that we have are either purely combat or purely.
I mean, that's the end with how it works.
Yeah, that's what it is. So this was definitely an episode that had both. This was the stream that we were battling server issues, so that puts a whole other twist on the whole
So
thing.
whenever you watch this on YouTube, you're going to see some fade in, fade outs. That's because Twitch decided they actually admitted it that their servers went down, so we lost our connection for a little while. But we waited, we filled in, we came back. It wasn't actually too much.
Right.
It was a little bit of negotiation, a failed arrow to the face, and some more javelins. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like you said earlier. This is the first time we've seen an NPC that was in danger of dying. That I think the whole group was like, no.
Yeah. I think there's probably 2 NPCs that Cal would care about dying, and
who are they?
Sprout was one of them.
Who's that one?
Devin.
Fox? You know it's not Fox? Oh wait, they don't know about Fox. Dun dun dun.
Cal wishes Fox was dead. There's a difference.
Yeah, I mean,
this was actually a really intense episode.
There wasn't really any
least
downtime
from my perspective.
There was no real lull. It was like, all right, time to start sneaking. Oh crap, there's a lot of stuff going on.
We've been found. Oh God, Cal, what are you doing?
Even when there should be like a brief moment of relaxation after like Thor shows up and decimates, we're like, cool, let's keep going. But we start rushing, and then of course, the wisdom save happens, and then the heart ripping out thing, and then that leads directly into the Sprout thing, which then leads us directly to getting back to town to fix the Sprout problem. This one was a very intense.
There were missions to be had and missions to succeed on.
Yes,
failure was not an option.
No. I think in a lot of ways, like at least from my perspective, like this is one of those things that like grants a lot of role play ability for next session.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
because it's not like we really had a lot of time for that this session. Like we didn't have the downtime, but like.
If there's downtime after this, all the characters are going to have to come to terms with everything that just happened.
There's nothing really. This was your only other thing that you were going to do until
right, because now it's the waiting game for other people to show up.
Right.
So you got some time.
And I mean, honestly, like, next session that we play is probably going to be pretty
very
emotionally intense.
Yes.
And part of that is also going to be attributed to some real life events. We posted on Facebook actually earlier today, but Malcolm, who plays Bilal, has actually decided to take a step back from playing with us. It wasn't for any
there was no
bad
blood,
reasons, no bad blood. He just
unfortunately we are adults, and as we've talked about in other streams when people have missed playing, we are adults with adult lives,
with jobs and things that require attention, and we all get that, and that's a part of life.
And I think he didn't want to
overburden himself with everything.
Right, overburden himself. I don't think that he wanted to let us down by not being there consistently. So he's leaving us on good terms. We hope nothing but the best for him, nothing but love for him.
We hope that he returns when
we're gonna severely miss our druid. Not only was he a great healer, but Bilal was a pretty good tank when he needed to be too.
Right, with essentially 3 bars of health.
I know, God,
it was great. But yeah, he will be leaving, so that's gonna, attribute to
the story.
I already know I'm gonna work that in there.
That's good.
So, any questions for me?
Now I've asked you this outside of game, and of course, I'm not sure if Sam was present for it. But just as far as people who watch us, if Cal had been captured and taken onto that boat, Cal would have been gone.
Oh, yes, Cal would have been gone for.
Probably until we at least ran into Yangu. Even more? Wow.
You would have been gone for, depending on how we did it, you would have been gone until you guys reached level, 12, 13.
Nice.
So that if Cal had been captured, Sam would have had to bring in a new character to take its place, as if it was a player death.
Cal would have been gone.
I want to be clear on this. If Cal dies, I would be very sad and it would hurt me very much. On the other hand, it happens.
And there is something to be said about the excitement of bringing new characters.
Right. I think all of us probably have backup characters that we're ready to play at this point.
I got about 90.
There is.
Yeah, I got about 90 PCs just chilling in my D&D Beyond.
2 or 3.
Yeah, I've got
there is something to be said that because we've been playing this campaign for about a year and a half. Probably crawling up on 2 years in a little bit. And we've had a break with it with a couple of one-shots, and we've had a break with the campaign that Sam was running in our free time, but that's been a little bit as well. But once you've been playing these characters for so long, sometimes
they become one with you, and it's like, if they die, I'm going to be real sad.
Right.
And then there's also the other side of that where I've been playing this character for so long.
There's an itch to try
what's
something
new?
different.
Yeah, because you guys are still, you guys have been playing D&D for over a year now, which is good, but you're also still inexperienced with, branching out class-wise and playing in a campaign.
And that's the kind of stuff that you want to do, and it's stuff that we've talked about on the Detention podcast and stuff like that, where branching out sometimes give you different perspectives and whatnot, going from something like a barbarian to a paladin where there's similarities but there's enough difference, or a rogue to a ranger, or a rogue to a warlock or something.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of those things where there might be that itch where a character, a moment like this where Cal could have been gone.
Cal could have died. Cal could have been gone. Sprout could have died.
The training wheels are off.
Yeah, and I personally, I find that very exciting. I have no qualms about my character just being dead. I'm never going to be one of those players that's like, so your character's dead now, and I'm like, but why? No, that's just part of the game. It happens.
And there's something to be said about you're alled to be sad about it.
Oh yeah,
because we've seen it on other live streams and other campaigns
very
where their character dies, where people are like, you know what, I have to leave the table, and they have to walk away because they've been attached.
And
I mean,
honestly, I probably would too, but I mean, from a standpoint of I wouldn't necessarily feel robbed or I wouldn't feel let down.
I think it's one of those things that as a player you have to be
ready
for it to some degree. You're allowed to be upset or be like, that's when it happens, there might be a moment of that's bullshit, but I mean, that's usually emotions and how it happens, and of course, a lot of this game is down to the luck of dice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's one of those things, if you can take it overall in the end as something that it might happen as a possibility and you have to come to terms with that eventually, then that's kind of what you have to get away with. Because we've talked about this briefly. This was during one of the prologues from before Roll Call started, or when we were talking about it in Roll for Bluff. We briefly talked about it in The Terror of the Tower. The Tower Worms. Sorn almost disappeared for a long time.
Yep.
Before we even started live streaming,
he would have come back with Yengu.
But it was one of those things where we because you and I had talked about it, and this is where the dice helped me in the reasoning of not disappearing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was another moment, and this was again before we had started live streaming. It was like Sorn had a real possibility of not being here.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, cool, what do I do now? And of course, those kind of things changed, because then it was like if Sorn disappeared, I would bring in a character who was awfully similar to him to kind of replace it, to maintain that in the group. Whereas nowadays, it's like, okay, if he's gone, I have as we've talked about, we have like 100 backup characters that we can bring into it.
Right.
If a character goes away, we will do a special Roll for Bluff in memorandum. We'll go through our favorite moments with the character and talk about our feelings with them.
Yeah.
This is when Cal stole an amulet. This is the time Cal sold a soul.
No, we're not doing. No.
This
favorite
is the time
moments,
Cal
not
drank
bad
more.
moments. So,
Boy, these are my favorite moments.
This is Cal drinking. This is Cal drinking again.
So you said if we had any questions, I'm only going to ask, and you're probably not going to tell me, but I'm only asking because you brought him up. Where is our good friend Fox? What's he up to?
Around.
You haven't seen him.
stuff and things.
Stuff and things? All right.
You'll see him soon.
Is he dead? Is he dying?
No. You'll see him soon. Like, very soon. Like
next
very
episode.
soon.
So
You might see him tomorrow.
God, I hope not. So having said that,
Not
Malcolm,
tomorrow.
yeah,
When this comes out.
having said that, Malcolm will not be joining us. We actually will not be playing our regular stream tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
This
So
comes out
we
with
are
one-shots.
because of Malcolm leaving and a few other members of our group not being able to actually make next session, we've decided instead we're going to hold a special 2-shot edition. So the special 2-shot is not just one, it's 2. So for the next 2 Fridays, tomorrow night and the following Friday, we'll be running this 2-shot with a very special DM. It's me.
I'll be a player.
Now, we're definitely trying to use this one as an opportunity. We're going to see if we can get some players who are new to D&D,
Yeah.
who are open to learning as well on stream.
Be gentle.
Yeah. No, she won't.
No, not her.
I'm
You.
never gentle.
You, the viewers.
Because
Be
if
gentle.
anything, we're here at Roll Call, we're definitely open and willing to try and get more people into D&D. Again, we've talked about this on stream. We've talked about this on the Detention podcast. We want to get more people into it, so we have to be proactive about it. So we're gonna try and get some new players in, test the water, see how they enjoy it, and all they can do is go up from there.
So, in this special 2-shot, both Tristan and Brandon will be players.
Yay.
So it will be my job to kill or not kill them,
Well, hold on.
depending
Wait.
on what I decide.
What? No.
So we'd love it if you guys want to check it out. Coming live tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m., same time as normal.
Just
and
one shot
then
have a special name.
at the moment, it is entitled The Almighty 5.
I mean, I love that name. I'm down for
And
it. I'm
as
down
I
to clown with that name.
jokingly said earlier, it's just 5 members of All Might.
It's not. Please no. We'll
It's
die.
not, but so that's going on tomorrow. Hopefully not next Friday because that'll be the second part, but the week after that we'll be getting back into our campaign.
I'm doing a regularly weekly.
Right, depending on if we can find a 5th before then, there'll be 5 of us. If not, we're going to continue on with 4.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Just means that we will not have healing.
You will not have a healer or a tank.
We'll have Cal at the moment is I think the only other person with healing spells, and I've got 2 shots at cure wounds, and that's it. So
Good thing you each have 3 potions.
Yeah.
thankfully. Gracious DM, thank you. So we will see you guys tomorrow night, and we will see you next week. We're going to be doing a special edition episode of Roll for Bluff where we discuss the 2-shot. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.